back in the States, we never heard the word concentration camp. We never heard the word Holocaust. We heard a little bit of rumblings that the Jews were being mistreated in Germany.
Right. And that was very public before even the start of the war.
Well, it was not very well publicized.
Really?
There was just little small articles in the newspaper about the Jews being not tortured, but mistreated in Germany. And well, we didn't believe it. It was propaganda. And then again, we read another article similar to that, propaganda. In all of our training, we never heard the word humanitarianism. If you meet a train with the people on, if you liberate a camp, this is what you're supposed to do. Never heard that. That was never spoken about. All through France, we never saw a concentration camp. We never even thought about the Jews being concentrated and tortured. The word Holocaust wasn't even invented. Went across northern France, through Belgium, into Holland, into Germany, into Western Germany. You still see these articles about the Jews being concentrated in camps now. Well, we didn't see any of it. We didn't think anything of it, didn't believe that. So here we are in Brunswick, and here's Bergen-Belsen. We never even heard of it. Never knew it existed. And these trains started moving out and went around and got down to Magdeburg, and we're going to Theresienstadt. But we were kind of in the middle of all of this. We're at Brunswick on the 10th of April. Then we moved on to the next town of Farsleben. There was a nice German air base there that we captured, barracks and a hospital. So we took that over, and then our next objective was Magdeburg. So we moved from Farsleben about 5 miles, or no, about 10 miles, to this little village of Farsleben. And there was no opposition. We went right through the little town, but as we went over the hill on the east side of it, looked down in the valley, this is where the train was located. And of course we had no idea what it was, but this was our first encounter with the Jews. And one of the tank commanders was a Jew, George Gross. And one of the girls who had been in this train, in one of the passenger cars, she and her little daughter approached the tank, and they started hollering back and forth, you know, who they are and who are you, and
in what language?
Nobody could understand them.
Was it?
But this one girl, Gina Rappaport, she was a very well-educated Polish girl, and she could speak 7 languages. So, trying out all of her languages, she found out George Gross could speak a little bit of Yiddish. So they're able to communicate. And she began to tell him where they had come from, when and where they were going. Well, these 2 cars, they had a little bit of freedom because they were able to get out of those cars. But the rest of them were in these cattle cars. They were sealed in there. And it's not until actually our men went to those trains and opened up the doors and began to let those sardines just fall out. They was next to skeletons, and they were just fell out the doors. This train was about 40 cars,
40
cattle cars, and they were just jammed in there like sardines.
All of the trains?
Yeah.
Wow.
About 75 people in each train. And they hardly had room to sit down or lay down or anything. They had just stand up, and they would just crumple to the floor from exhaustion.
Was there anyone deceased on the trains?
I think we took about 20 bodies off the train. The rest of them were close to skeleton.
Was that probably the most gruesome thing you encountered during the war?
Yeah. And their condition was just horrible. It was so bad that when they opened up the cars and let the bodies, skeletons out of the cars, they stunk so bad that our guys had turned around and puked. It just was disgusting, and just turned their stomachs. They couldn't tolerate the stench that was coming out of those cars. They were loaded with lice. We could see the lice crawling in their hair, or on their body, their clothing.
You could see it?
Oh yeah, they were just loaded with lice and fleas, and we didn't know what else. So we didn't have any contact with. They wanted to hug us and embrace us, you know, and kiss us.
How did you keep them off? Did you just kind of back away?
Just back away from them. It was a pathetic situation. Some of them could hardly talk. They could hardly move. They'd been in this train for 6 days, coming from Bergen-Belsen, and the train could only move at night, because anything if that train was moving in the daytime, our Air Force could see it, and they would go down and strafe it. And so anything that moved, the Air Force was down strafing it. So they could only move at night. And they would stop like at dawn in the morning and give them their daily ration, which was like a cup of soup. And that soup consisted of a pot of water with some potato peelings in it. They would peel potatoes, you know, for their own use, and then take those potato peelings and put them in the kettle and make soup out of it. Or it might be turnips, sugar beets, the skins. That was their soup.
And that was all they would get for each day?
That's all each day. They get 1 cup of that soup. And they were lucky if they got 1 or 2 of the peelings. Now, they're in these cars. Of course, after they finished eating, they were herding them back into the cars again. And for sanitary facilities, they had like a 5-gallon bucket over in the corner. Well, it didn't take long for a 5-gallon bucket to fill up with 75 people. And further, the guy over in this corner couldn't get to the bucket. I got to go right now. Right now! He couldn't get to the bucket in time. I got to have bowel movement. I got to go right now. You can't get to the bucket. Let it run down your legs. So if you can imagine 6 days of that, the stench that came out of those cars. Well, now they were so filthy with urine-soaked clothing, feces, covered with lice. The guys in the American military government had them take their clothes off, put it in a pile, and burned it.
Just to be safe.
So here they are, all stark naked. And the engineers, of course, they had been forewarned of this group coming. They had set up shower heads. Now, these people had heard through the grapevine about Jews being taken to camps and put into a shower. And they would release a Zyklon B gas and eliminate them. And then they were taken and put into the crematorium and disposed of. So they thought these shower heads were going to be the Zyklon gas again. That's why they stripped them of all their clothing. But we had to have some of our own guys stripped down to their underwear and go through into the showers and show them that these were actually water shower heads. The lice were still in their hair. So as they come out of the showers, they were dusted with DDT.
Probably not the most healthy in the long term.
But we didn't know that. That was the best, technically, the best thing that we had to eliminate lice and fleas. At the end, the Red Cross had clothing available for them that they had rounded up from the people in Hillersleben and gave them new clothing to put on. It might not fit, it might not be their color, their style. It was something to cover their body. So that we got them reclothed, and then they were segregated. The single people were sent to one of the barracks, and those are the families that tried to keep them together, put them in some of the houses. Of the 700, I figured half of them are deceased by now. So we're down to about 350 possible survivors out there somewhere. So I started searching and put an article on my website, and it took about a year. And the first hit that I got was from a girl in Australia.
No way.
She said, I was on that train. And then she gave me the name of 4 or 5 other people in Australia that were on that train. And then it began to snowball that she knew somebody in Israel, and they knew somebody else, and they knew somebody else, and the thing just snowballed. And I found 275. These people, that's why they scattered all over the world, and my first contact was with this girl in Australia.
What year was that?
That was in 2005.
Okay.
That I actually found her.
And the total now is 275 that you've been in contact that were on that train and that you can verify.
Yeah. In fact, I was down in Sarasota last week, and I met 2 of them there. A month ago, I was in Boston. I met 2 more there. Physically met these. I had been in contact with them, email, but I'd never met them before. And one of these guys was a nuclear scientist at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. The other one was a lady. She was just a housewife.
What are some of the, even if you haven't came in contact with them, but you personally, but you've been in touch with them emails, what are some of these occupations? Nuclear scientist at Brown?
Nuclear scientist, neurosurgeon, doctors, lawyers, engineers, you name it.
Did any of them that you found lose their faith over the Holocaust, or has it mostly stayed intact?
One that I met down in Sarasota, he said, I asked him, are you a conservative, reform, or Orthodox Jew? He said, no, I'm an agnostic. I don't believe in anything anymore.
Was that because of the Holocaust?
Yeah. But he's the only one that I ever met that said he was an agnostic. All the rest of them still maintain their faith that they had at the very beginning. And I find that in talking with them, how did you survive through this from day to day? Tomorrow is going to be better. Tomorrow is going to be better. These children, dirty, stinking, nasty Jew kids, trash, to come up from the ashes and become high-level professional citizens in our society and a part of our culture.
And you played an integral role.
I played a role in that. And that's my reward, to meet this guy, the nuclear scientist. If I hadn't helped to save him, he'd have gone on to the crematorium. Are
you the last member from the group who liberated the train?
I'm the last one. There had to be 100 or more men involved in this
operation,
whole operation. And I've only been able to find a very few of them. The two tank commanders I have met, talked with them, and one other man. And of course, they're all deceased now, and I'm the last one
of the initial group.
Of the initial group that had anything to do with the train. I think it's an honor to be a part of my generation, especially to have liberated all of Western Europe and given those people back their liberty and freedom. And then on top of that, to encounter these Jews and to give them their liberty and freedom and put them on a road to a new life.